Senator Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Mr Acting Deputy President. Well, modest seems to be the word of this week. And let me tell you, I certainly agree that Labor has much to be modest about, in fact embarrassed about, in relation to their broken promises. So they might not think that modest changes matter, but absolutely on this side we know they do. There is nothing modest about their broken promises, and particularly in relation to superannuation. So it was modest because it only relates to a small percentage of hard-working Australians.
Senator O'Neill.
What did they say? 0.5%? But guess what? It was actually 10%, and I wouldn't be surprised if it actually turns out to be much more than 10% of hard-working Australians. And who are these hard-working Australians? They are the people who have worked hard all their lives to earn their money and to put money into superannuation. They are farmers, they are veterans on defined benefit schemes, and they are many other Australians. There is nothing modest about what you are proposing to do to them. And anyway, even if it was modest and not a broken promise, why are you doing this? Why are you taking people's money away from them from their retirement if it is so modest? It does not make sense. So really, let's call a spade a spade. This modest proposal is actually a broken promise. So no matter how much they try to say modest, 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 every time the Australian people hear the Labor Party say that, it means broken promise, and it means they are raiding your superannuation. Australians are very smart and wise people. They know their super is their money. It is not the government's money. It is not the union's money. It is not super fund money. It is their own money that you are taking from them, despite promising before the election that you would not. So let's have a look at what Labor actually promised every hard-working Australian in this nation. Before the election, Jim Chalmers, now the Treasurer, promised that there were going to be no new tax increases. He said those exact words. Labor has broken that promise. Labor has said it will now double taxes on super, and you really have to ask what will be next, because once you know that once you've broken one promise, many others will come. They are clearly either being so duplicitous and frankly lying to the Australian people when they come, oh, well, we've just had this little idea here, it's modest, it's reasonable, we said we wouldn't do this before the election, but hey, it's modest, let's just do it anyway and take people's money away from them. So, in the last 3 weeks alone, the Prime Minister has not only refused to rule out further changes to superannuation, again they said they would make none. The Treasurer has refused to rule out changes to negative gearing. The Treasurer has also refused to rule out changes to capital gains tax, including imposition on the family home. Then the Prime Minister rushed out and said, the Treasurer shouldn't have said that. No, we won't touch your house, but that is still not saying you won't make changes to capital gains tax. And then the Treasurer said, oops, sorry, I guess the Prime Minister is right. But clearly the Prime Minister of this nation and the Treasurer of this nation cannot be trusted whenever and whatever they say, particularly before what they said before the last election. And those of us who are old enough to remember previous Labor governments will know that this is socialism 101. It is the politics of envy. It is the politics of division, because they start taking from people who have worked hard and have bigger bank balances, have bigger incomes, have bigger superannuation, and then they keep widening it and widening it and widening it, so that so many working Australians who have worked hard for their money do not have it anymore. So what else have this government done? Since this government came into power less than a year ago, they have had 9 consecutive interest rate rises, which is putting a profound stress on all Australians who have a mortgage. It's looking pretty grim out there, and everywhere I go, people are saying how much this Labor government has negatively impacted on their cost of living. And sadly, there will be more cost of living pressures put on by this Labor government.
Thank you, Senator Reynolds. I'll put the